Good morning. Isn't that beautiful? The sun rising over the cross on top of the Lutheran Redeemer Church here in Jerusalem. Right now it's a half a sun and it will be coming there to be a full sun. This morning the Dome of the Rock is much clearer. There's the cross of the Holy Sepulchre. Come on, Dome of the Rock, where are you? Oh, there we are. So over on the left. But let's stay here with the sun. Let's do a complete sunrise on the Lutheran Church this morning. I can't really go down much lower here because the wall here will block me just to get the sun behind the cross. Let me see if I can go down this way. There's the wall. Maybe we can get it through this little gap here. Yeah! Oh. There's a cable there. Well, now it's almost complete. It's a pity this Christmas we don't have our Christmas decorations outside because of a participation in the sorrow of all the people suffering, all the loss of life here, all of the violence. I'll just swing over there in a moment, but we almost got a complete sunrise now. So people, welcome back again here to Jerusalem this morning. And as I was mentioning that normally we'd have the Christmas tree here, it will be already up and celebrated. They have a few little pieces here, but there's a very subdued celebration. I imagine they're going to do something. It looks like they have some things prepared to put up, but on a much smaller scale than would normally be the case because of all of the pervading sadness. Trying to, there we go. The phone is not responding well, or my fingers are not doing it right. So now I give you a big zoom in here on the Dome of the Rock. This icon of Jerusalem. And the Jewish cemetery forms the background there, that grey background. And the screen isn't responding here. You zoom in and out, stretching the screen, and it doesn't move from my fingers. So that's life. So God willing, we're heading back to Galilee this morning, and your sunrise tomorrow will hopefully be from Magdala. Today we have two great stories. One of them is exactly from where we were on retreat in Ein Karem with Zechariah, who was a priest at the temple. And they were here having worship when the angel appeared to him and said, "You will have a son," here in Jerusalem. And the temple is still going strong. And it's Zechariah's turn. There were turns for the priest, and he would come in from Ein Karem, which is out here to the west. In fact, this light rail goes out to Ein Karem, basically. It gets as far as Yad Vashem and Mount Herzl, and I think there's a stop just beyond there. And it's if there's no traffic, it's I've walked it in about an hour and a half or less back in the day when I was based here in Jerusalem. And he would come in for his temple duty. But we have a case before that, over 1,000 years before that, maybe 1,100 years before that, and that's today our first reading. In Judges chapter 13, there's a certain man from Zorah of the clan of the Danites. His wife was barren. And so Elizabeth also doesn't have a child, the wife of Zechariah. And these two readings are paired up today, obviously because of the deep connections between the Old and New Testaments. The New Testament is a flowering of the Old Testament. The people who wrote the New Testament are steeped in all the texts of the Old Testament. And an angel appears to her. That's interesting because even if we don't know her name, the angel appears to her, whereas in Elizabeth's case, the angel appears to Zechariah at the temple. Luke has a lot of very temple-centered stories, and and they're wonderful. Also, the texts of praise, worship texts of the praise that Zechariah will pray after John the Baptist is born, and then the Magnificat that Mary prays when she visits Elizabeth in Ein Karem. So there were very clear instructions about the boy to be born. And this is very interesting as well because it's a great teaching about life and about birth and about the gift of life. And in the broader picture of the situation, the state of affairs of the human condition, the people are in a time of great trial. In both occasions, 1,100 years earlier, the time of the judges, and then the time of Zechariah, they're under Roman occupation. Although the leadership of the temple is very much in cahoots with Herod and the Roman leadership because politics controlled the religious operation. And very often politics, even today, tries to control the religious identity of people. Whereas politics should be serving the common good, sometimes it takes great liberties in interfering with the liberty of the people. And so the people back in the time of the judges, well, they were in very difficult relationships with their neighbors. And now God was going to give salvation. You see, we don't make salvation happen ourselves. And that's the big teaching, that God gives salvation. And he gives salvation where we least expect it, and where people would have written off the case of Manoah and his barren wife. There's no way they're going to have a child. There's no way Zechariah and Elizabeth can have a child. So we turn to God for salvation. This is also the big point of all of this. And each of these children then have a mission. And the angel tells Manoah, the boy is to be consecrated to God from the womb, and he will begin the deliverance of Israel from the power of the Philistines. And the child is going to be called Samson. And actually, also in the same sad tones of our experience today, Samson dies in Gaza, and the famous scene with the tower in the party of the Philistine leaders, and he pulls down the building on top of everybody, and it says he killed more enemies of Israel than he did in all his battles. So we see the sad condition of humanity, of our inability as human beings to live together on this planet. This is also a remarkable reality. Hear the bells? And then the Psalm 71 is celebrating that salvation. My mouth shall be filled with your praise, and I will sing your glory. There are many psalms with which we can really pray in praise of God for his blessings. And I encourage you to do that a lot. The heart that's filled with gratitude and praise, quite opposite to the heart that's complaining and bitter. It's a very different life. And the Psalms lead us, they coach us, they teach us to pray, you know. And this psalm goes on, be my rock of refuge, a stronghold to give me safety. For you are my rock and my fortress. O my God, rest